Christina.
So
What is going on today?
not much.
Has it been an action-packed day for you?
It's been an exciting day.
Okay. Are we going to talk about work camping?
I think so.
All right, stay tuned, folks. Here she is, folks, at her latest work camper job. Right on Lake Whippoorwill here in Florida.
We have yet to hear Whippoorwill.
This is true. Windy here today.
Nice.
It is beautiful.
Photo.
It's probably like 75 with a breeze. So we were going to do our interview show right here. It is absolutely beautiful out here today. But it's dark underneath here.
Look at how rough it is on the
Yeah, it's rough. I'm sure they're not renting any kayaks or anything today. But this isn't the spot in the wind, so we're gonna have to go inside. But you get the idea. This is a type of place you can find yourself work camping. Beautiful campgrounds, working with nice people, in absolutely gorgeous weather. And that's what it's all about.
That would be funny.
So we started right out here worried that we're both on the same side of this lightweight picnic table, that maybe the whole thing would flip over.
It would be quite entertaining.
One of the blooper shots. So what are we talking about here this morning?
I don't know, this is your idea, so you tell me what we're talking about. Work camping.
We're talking about
obviously.
work camping, folks.
Yep.
We're talking about how's the work camping career, if you want to call it that, going. Been at it for, well, almost 2 years ago we started, right? Hard to believe it's only been that long. We're at our fourth work camping job and our third KOA in a row. Every time you move, the camera starts
I'm so sorry, I will try to be as
wobbling.
still as possible.
Okay, so you need to stop all this moving and fidgeting and wiggling to start with. But we do need her to talk. Usually I can't stop her from doing that. Now today I can't get her started. So tell the folks where we've worked so far.
Cherokee, North Carolina, Yogi in the Smokies, and then Okeechobee in Florida, the KOA, and then the KOA in Wilmington, Lake Placid, New York, and then our current job, which is here in Whippoorwill, KOA, Southeast Orlando.
Lake Whippoorwill?
Lake Whippoorwill. What did I say? Whippoorwill?
Just Whippoorwill.
Oh, no.
People might not know where that is.
Okay.
So it's in the southeastern
Narcoozy Road.
part of Orlando. So,
Right.
you enjoying your experience here?
I am.
And tell the folks what you do here.
I currently work in the office, so I do reservations for both RV sites, short-term, weekly, monthly, daily, and then storage. We also do the arrangements for storage because they have storage here. And then we have a store, so we often will stock shelves, just kind of monitor the store. I guess that's it.
What's your typical work week like?
I currently work 4 days a week. My
What
shifts
days?
are kind of all over.
You work consecutive days?
I work 4 consecutive days and then have 3 consecutive days off.
How many hours do you work a day?
Typically 8.
Do you have a lunch?
I have a half hour for lunch.
Okay.
Yep.
And are you standing, sitting during your shift?
Standing.
Standing the whole time, 8
All
hours?
the time. Yep.
So I think that's important to some folks if you have physical limitations, that if you can't stand for 8 hours, you probably shouldn't take a job. It's going to require you to. I work in escorts. I'm a male escort down here in Orlando. I like to say that I get paid to keep my clothes on at this point in my life. Um, you weren't supposed to agree with me. And in that job, I work 8 hours, but I don't get a lunch, so I don't have to clock out because you won't have time to eat lunch. So you kind of eat on the run. We escort to every site, every cabin, every tent site. We have a lot of big motorhomes that come in here, big fifth wheels, travel trailers. We're moving people around all day, even inside the park, so that they can stay longer. Bring a lot of people in from outside the park. We have a gate, so in that job you're part of security. So you have to keep the gate secure. Certain people, you have to decide whether they get let in or not, depending on what they need. We're getting calls from the office all day long to open up the storage facilities for the long-term storage. About 200 sites over there. Pick up garbage all day long.
And your favorite? I forgot a job.
You do the departure report every morning. Has to be in by 11 o'clock just to make sure the people that are supposed to leave have actually left the park.
What the heck?
And make sure that the sites are cleaned. I don't have to clean the sites. You have another guy that does that.
It's like a scene out of The Birds here right now.
What's the part I forgot?
Propane.
Oh, yeah. How could I forget that? Off and on all day long, we fill propane around here. And we're probably about the only place for maybe 20 miles that actually fills propane tanks. So we get all the food trucks and motorhomes off the street, the motorhomes in the park, 20-pound tanks, 30-pound tanks, 40-pound tanks. So I had to be certified to do that. So now I've been certified in Florida and Georgia to fill propane. I filled North Carolina. Another one of those southern states.
New York. Aren't you in New York?
It was never really had to be certified.
Oh, okay.
I just did it all summer long up in Lake Placid, Whiteface Mountain, KOA. So people would think that now we're like just KOA work campers, and I know we have a logo for that at the end of our videos that I put on there a lot of times. But it just so happens that the last 3 jobs have been KOAs, but we're not KOA employees. We're just kind of freelancers, and we can work for anybody. The way we do it is we find a job of someplace where we want to be for a season. We've never left early. We always fulfill our commitment. And once you get into the KOA work camper program, a lot of their managers, especially in the corporate ones, there's like 31, I think, corporate KOAs out of 500 KOAs in the country. The rest of them are franchises. They all talk, and if you have a good reputation, then it makes it relatively easy to find a job at your next spot that you're interested in. So we are here until probably the end of April. And this park has been absolutely beautiful. It's a really nice little KOA. It's the smallest park we've worked at so far. I think we both like our jobs, it's safe to say. People we work with here are very nice, friendly.
Campers
the managers, we got a really good manager. The campers have been really good for the most part. There is a lot of snowbirds, a lot of seasonal campers here. What is the maximum? 5 months that they can be in this campground? So we do get a lot of just transient campers that are just here for a night or 2 or 3 or 4 or a week. And then we have the people that are here for, you know, pretty much the whole winter. Doesn't look like a trailer park, looks like a campground.
It's very well maintained. It's probably the nicest maintained
right up
campground
there.
that we've worked at.
One of our co-workers bringing in a visitor, one of our other co-workers, it looks like, which that's the job that I have during his days off. But unfortunately they're leaving. They're a real nice couple. They bought one of those lots down here. We did a video with the RV ports, and that was actually the park where they're going to be going to.
And I've just got to say, I think a huge part of what we enjoy, obviously we enjoy this weather. We enjoy the environment. There's a lot of perks for us to be down here. but work camping in general, I think that we both really just enjoy meeting other people. And we have met some really nice people that we hope to be connected to really pretty much the rest of our lives in some way, shape, or form, whether it's just through Facebook or if we can meet up with them again. But I think that that's a huge part of the journey, is just
We do a lot of that,
the people
meeting up
that we
with people
meet.
that we've met along the way
Yep.
later
Absolutely.
on. It's
And I
been
think
fun.
that's you just get
It's
to
half the
meet
fun of
people
it.
from all walks of life, and it's interesting, especially with like work campers. You find out why people do it and at what age and what inspired them, and you know where they've been. We learn from them of other campgrounds that are probably really good to work for, and other campgrounds that maybe we need to just kind of be
Just
careful
stay
about.
away from.
So it's been a good, really good resource, and just in general, it's really good just to know more people and just have that interaction with them.
We've always tried to leave on the best of terms when our commitment is up, and then we stay in contact with all of the managers from every park that we've been in so far. And as a matter of fact, we probably spent 4 or 5 hours with the managers from Lake Placid KOA last night, because they were down in Florida and had dinner and hung out, talked, and had a grand old time. So that part of it's been really fun. And then just exploring these different areas in the country that you're interested in. Right now we're in Orlando, and some days we don't do much, which is kind of nice on our days off. And other days we're, going to parks, going to some free places, going to places like Disney that are far from free. And it's been awesome. I always tell people that ask me about it, because we run into a lot of people that are kind of interested in it, that are campers at this point, that maybe dreamers or whatever you want to call them. And I say, I'd have a hard time going back to a regular job after this, is the way I put it.
Yep.
And staying put in northern New York State and all the sub-zero temperatures and all the snow that you get all winter long, it's been kind of nice. So we get our fill of it, because we're up there till the first of the year. And then we head out, and then it's like this, if you go to the right place. It's been pretty hot down here.
Yeah, it has. Yep, it's nice today. It's perfect, actually.
So what would you suggest to people that are on the fence? Because I remember very well what it was like to be there. You want to take the plunge, you're afraid, you don't know if you'll be able to do it, you don't know if you'll be able to survive, you don't know if you'll be able to pay your bills.
Well, for us, and everybody's different, everybody's got different situations. People may have like retirements coming in or some type of money.
Social Security even.
Right. So I know every situation is different, but because neither of us wanted to touch retirement, we're not old enough for Social Security, so we need some money coming in. So for us, in order for us to be able to do this, a huge part was to be debt-free. I know you've heard us say that over and over and over. And I know everybody is different, but for us, we needed to be debt-free. And I remember something that I kind of had to keep in mind when we were at the very beginning stages of this, and I was a nervous wreck, because this is just so out of the box of what I was ever taught to do through my life. Was nothing is forever. So if you try something, I don't care what it is, if you have some urge to want to try something different, as long as it's legal and not going to harm anybody, try it. I mean, what do you have to lose? It's not really, you're not losing anything. You tried something different, and if it worked, awesome, and if it didn't, you know what?
You move on, you do something
and,
different. It's not working for you.
It's probably not for everyone, obviously.
Oh, it's definitely not.
I mean, you live in a camper. I personally don't find living in a camper a hardship at all.
No.
I miss my family. I think that's
one of the biggest downsides.
That's one of the biggest things.
They manage to come see us a lot of times.
Yep.
Where we are.
Yeah.
And it's areas that they're interested in visiting too.
Yep.
So that works out pretty good when that can happen.
That's the downside, but technology, thank God for technology. It has made things a lot easier. We can do video chats, we can call, send pictures, do group chats.
we have a family chat through Messenger that
Yep.
we're in contact with our 3 kids constantly
Yep.
on a daily basis
Yep.
and multiple times a day. Sometimes you know what all of them are doing, they know what we're doing,
Yep.
and that kind of makes it
it's
nice.
silly stuff and it's serious stuff and whatever, but it's just it just helps to feel like you have that connection, and I think that that's important.
But we still do have a house,
Yep.
and we love going back to our house. We're very comfortable there. It's in northern New York. The summers are awesome up there. I always say there's very few places I'd rather be in the summer. But there is some places that we want to do work camping that are summer, like Yellowstone. So there's probably going to be a summer where we take off for a while and go out to Yellowstone or the Pacific Northwest. Oregon we're interested in, Idaho,
Okay.
Washington State.
He's
So-
in Michigan. I wouldn't mind going to Michigan.
Michigan, probably up in the UP sometime. So let's say that the people can get themselves to the position where they have enough money coming in, or they still want to do the work camping. They've done the downsizing exercise. Is not for the faint of heart, folks.
It's good for your soul, though.
It's good. It's a good thing to do.
Good
But
for your soul. We need to do it again. But
yeah. But anyway, you've gone through all that. You've got your camping equipment, whatever. You're going to get a motorhome or a travel trailer, fifth wheel, whatever. Pop-up camper, van, I don't care what it is. And you need to find a job. So what would you suggest to people in that position? They're ready to take the plunge. They want to find their first work camping job.
So as far as resources, I have a list on my phone that half of them I've never used, but we typically do workampers.com. They have a subscription that you can pay for, or you can just go on their website or the Facebook page and you'll see listings. You can Google work camping and different sites that offer like links to work camping. Like Google has one.
Cool Works
is one. I think a huge part of it is talking to people. Like if you're camping and you know there's work campers there, talk to them about their experiences and what they've used. They'll connect you. Even just, you know what, if you're in an area and you want to maybe just start off close to home, just to see what it's like, go to the campgrounds around where you are and stop in and meet the manager and introduce yourself and let them know that you're interested in, work camping.
Or a good thing to do would just be to volunteer for your site.
Or volunteer for your site.
So you volunteer to work a certain amount of hours and keep your camper there.
Yep.
That's a great way to see if it'd be for you.
And of course the KOA, work at KOA, I think it is. See, if I knew you were going to ask this question, I'd have the information in front of me.
Google's your friend,
You know what?
folks.
Doug can put it in the link below the video of the ones that we've used. Yeah, there's
Well, she didn't
others.
even mention, I think, probably the best resource there is out there is Work Campers on Facebook.
Oh, on Facebook.
Yeah, that's completely free.
Yep.
And if you watch that, it's just called Work Campers. And you just put the word work camper in WORKAMPERS, right? That one's Work Campers.
Yeah, but you can also just Google work and then campers with a C, and it'll bring up like definitions and it'll give you ideas of links. And I think even people said that you can go through, what's the job?
Indeed.
Yeah, maybe it was Indeed. I don't know. I have a list on my phone, like I said, that has other people that I've heard talk about it, but I've never used them. I've never had to. I mean, because we've been with KOAs.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That's half the battle. Get your foot in the door. Get that first job. Another one on Facebook is Work Campers Who Love KOA. That's going to be KOA related, but a lot of the KOA managers, they post their jobs on there. And a lot of them will also post their jobs on Work Campers on Facebook. So that's free for the employer and it's free for the work camper.
And I think you can, when you're with your first experience, I know with us, our first work camping job, I remember being like really, really, really nervous because it's your first one. It's like doing anything for the first time. You're just hoping that you do the right thing, that you can learn and fulfill their expectations and, have fun. And I can honestly tell you that Doug and I were blessed with the best managers with our work camping, our first work camping gig.
And I'm going to put a shout out. That's Yogi and the Smokies in Cherokee, North Carolina. And it's Bill and Sharon are the managers there. And they could not made us feel more at ease.
Yep. And it was wonderful because they had work camped prior to becoming managers.
A lot of the managers started out
So,
work campers, so
you know,
be careful, folks. You could end up a manager. So never go out to lunch with Bill and Sharon if you ever end up working there. Okay? That was the running joke because that's how they ended up with the job.
Anyway.
They got invited out to lunch with the managers they were working for, and they were told they were going to leave in like a week, and then they ended up being managers.
So,
anyways, kind of one of the funny stories you hear out there.
So I think you can learn from your first work camping job, like what works and what doesn't, so that you know when you go to look for your second. You know, maybe you want to go back to that work camping job, or maybe you want to try something different, and then you may see like other positions out there that you know, sometimes I hear people say that they get like stuck in a rut with a certain type of work, and I was really blessed.
Like you?
No, I was really blessed last summer. I got to be exposed to a lot of different things.
Yeah, I know it.
I did food, and I did a little bit of office, not much. Did activities some, did housekeeping. So it was nice because I was able to do other jobs that maybe I hadn't had an opportunity to do, to see if I like them or not. And, you know, again, you may not like it in one campground, and you may go to another campground and you may like that position. So
and you add to your resume all the time, because you keep a resume and you got to keep it current.
Yeah.
And we keep it on the Work Camping site, which is a paid site. It's $30 a year, I think.
Yep.
And you can update your skills all the time on there. As you work at these different jobs, you acquire new skills. This time I'll be putting that I worked in security, because the job I have now is you're working in security. You're guarding the gate, and you're doing the escorts.
Your first male escort job.
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't make any tips, which tells you something.
Maybe you need to start taking your clothes off?
No, I don't think so. Ain't nobody got time for that. So we're still laughing, almost 31 years of marriage. Still having a good time together. So it's very important. I think you got to be compatible with your mate to start with, because if you're not, you're probably in trouble. Because not only do you live together in a smaller quarters than you're probably used to, is now you're working together. Chances are you're going to be working together the same hours, the same days off. You could even be in the same department, like we were in Cherokee. I was her boss, folks, for 7.5 months.
Just the title.
She always likes to say that. But it's been a lot of fun. And one thing I always remember when we were on the fence about it, somebody on one of the work camping pages said, well, it seems like you've managed to survive in your life and do pretty good up until this point, so why wouldn't you be able to when you're a work camper? And you start thinking about that, and you're like, yeah, we've done okay. We've figured out how to do all this stuff in life, raise kids and keep jobs and run businesses and pay the bills and all that, so it's not any different when you're work camping, really. So I think that's about it.
I think so.
Looks like we're going to get interrupted again.
We're just cruising around.
What are they doing?
Anyway.
So that
wasn't bad. We're going to have to cut all this out.
I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it in.
We are like distracted little creatures here.
Plus my eye. I don't know if I got sunscreen in my eye. Sorry, folks. I've been messing around with this eye. I think I got lotion or something in it. I haven't had any problems with my eye. It's just that I sit down here. Of course, the sun's pretty bright. So hopefully, I mean, if you guys have questions, send them in. We always try to answer any questions that we can. Hopefully somebody out there will find this helpful. We do these videos because we very much remember being in the position where we wish we could find some good resources and some good information. And we're not to retirement age yet. And so far, so good. We're a couple years in. And wouldn't trade it for anything. I mean, not every day is great. You got to work. A job is a job. think it's less stress than probably what a lot of people do for their normal jobs. You're going to make a whole lot less money. And
but you just adapt. You have to learn to adapt to what you're bringing in. Don't live over your means.
And another thing I would suggest is when you're going into it, try to get a contract. Try to have your job description very plainly put right out there so that there's no surprises when you get there. If you have limitations, let the employer know, because that's the worst thing you can do. You're going to be expected to do things you can't do.
And a lot of employers will be willing to work with you. Like,
find a different job for you.
Or, I mean, I'm not saying here, but like say if you're at the front desk and you can only stand for a little while and you need to sit down for 15 minutes, maybe they'll provide you a chair so that you can sit down.
Or a stool or something.
Yeah, so honesty is the best answer, and so just be honest with them so that there's not problems later on.
Make sure you know what your pay is. Make sure you know what you're being charged for site. That's very important. Make sure you do the math if it's a certain amount of hours for your site. Okay? Because depending on your situation, I mean, if you've got money coming in and you're retired, you can probably work just for site. We're not in that position, so we can't just work for our site. So all of that stuff has to work for you, and your days off. If you only want to work 3 or 4 days a week, you need to have that all worked out ahead of time, so that you don't get there and find out, they want you to work 5 or 6 days a week.
Yep.
And you're thinking you're like semi-retired, and that's not what you signed up for. It's going to be a problem right from the start.
Yep.
Consecutive days off. We've been very fortunate. We've always pretty much gotten the jobs that we wanted to do.
Yep.
The openings have always been there of something that we could do as a couple.
Yep.
And it's been good.
Yeah, absolutely. Just communicate. Communicate with each other and communicate with your manager, and just, if you have a problem, go to them, talk to them about it. Don't let it
Fester.
Because that's the worst, as you know, in any job, but just communicate. It's the biggest thing.
All right. Is that it?
All right. I think that's it.
All right. Thanks, folks.
Thanks for watching.
Have a great day.